Digital leader Ericka Bernard has a conversation with the chair of the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority Commission, Mike Neely, on homeless youth awareness and what can be done to end youth homelessness. Commissioner Neely highlights the importance of early intervention and the need of culturally appropriate solutions to end youth homelessness.
Good afternoon, my name is Ericka Bernard and I'm a former homeless youth myself, and I'm with Sanctuary of Hope's digital literacy program, interviewing for Runaway and Homeless Youth Awareness Month.
Okay.
Okay.
Pleased to meet you.
Pleased to meet you too. And my first question, as Commissioner appointee by Supervisor Mark Riley Thomas, tell us a little bit about your professional background and how it relates to your work with the Commission.
Okay. I'm Mike Neely. I've been a commissioner since 2011. And prior to that, I retired from what's now referred to as HOPICS. I was the founder of the Homeless Outreach Program, which developed into the Homeless Outreach Program, the Integrated Care System, which ultimately developed into HOPICS. Prior to that, I was homeless on the streets of Los Angeles myself, and have before that had a career in the aerospace industry, which ended because of my abuse of substances, which ultimately took me into homelessness. My activism began once I got to the streets because of the fact that it was a very, very difficult process, and even after I was able to use the Veterans Administration to get clean and sober, which I did in 1986. The issue is that how do you deal with a problem that is seemingly very difficult for individuals to overcome? And that was the beginning of the Homeless Outreach Program, was to reach out to people on the streets to educate them about programs and services that were available to them. Most people who have not experienced homelessness don't understand that most homeless programs are very difficult for individuals to access. Most cases, people kind of end up at programs haphazardly or by accident, as opposed to directly going to programs. So if you can find a way to help people to navigate to those particular programs, then one of the things that usually occurs is that those people can be much more successful much more quickly. You know, I've always had the saying that by the time most people get a case manager, they probably don't need one. Simply because if they can navigate the system to get to a case manager, one of the things is that they're pretty much in the system and they know what to do. Those individuals who are stuck out on the streets are those who don't have anybody to help them, to guide them, or do anything else. Most of the time people get directions from individuals that are out on the street, and we know that those directions in a lot of cases are normally wrong. So that was what drove my passion, and the whole thing about it is that for 25 years it was one that I was able to help a lot of people to deal with a lot of the problems that we had.
Right. Thank you. And then my next question is, you are the founder of HOPICS and a longtime homeless advocate. What do you think can be done to fund more youth-serving programs in South Los Angeles that serve homeless youth?
Well, I think there's a couple of things. For a long, long time, we were in denial that there was a problem of youth homelessness in Los Angeles, and especially in South Los Angeles. We hid from the problem, we ran from the problem, we denied the problem, we did a lot of things as opposed to really and truly facing the problem and moving forward with it. I think that some of the things that we can do is to better identify at-risk youth, earlier on in the process. I think that the school systems can play a role relative to if a child is having a problem or a child is coming from a homeless background or a number of other things, that child, as opposed to them being so quick to label our minority youth as special education and special needs, they should more be looking at those youth that are at risk, and once they're at risk, then to provide certain services either to that youth or to the family, which then would be able to help them to not fall into homelessness or to intervene earlier so that homelessness does not occur. I think that the other thing that we need to do is to understand the importance of youth in our community.
Right.
I don't think that we give youth enough credit for those things that they're capable of doing, those things that they could do. We don't provide them with the kinds of skills. We're more concerned with their test scores as opposed to their skill development relative to their educational process. Because that is something that if we develop skills in our youth, then they'll be able to be successful and won't fall into homelessness or won't have to deal with the issue of violence and a number of other things.
Right.
So I think that those are some of the things, some of the first steps that we can take, and some of the things that we can start looking at and doing to be able to help some of the youth.
Right. And then my next question is, getting the public involved has always been important to you.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see as the opportunities for informing the public about homelessness?
Well, I think that the biggest thing that we can do is make sure that, I don't think awareness is our problem anymore.
Right.
Everyone is pretty much aware of what the problem is. I think that there's a disconnect between what people are aware of and what homelessness is really about.
Right.
We're aware of the fact that there are a number of people encamped on the street. That's very much an awareness. However, we're not as aware of the fact that we've got a number of youth and a number of others that are hiding from that street life and that are surfing on the couches, that are doing a lot of things just to stay sheltered for a period of time. I don't think that we're recognizing the fact that there are a number of families that are going through some stressful and tremendously risky behaviors just in an effort to be able to hold the family together and to remain sheltered in some way or another. I think we have to illuminate that in some way, shape, or form, but I think that once we illuminate it, we're going to have to come up with viable solutions that can begin to deal with it. And the solutions that people are coming up with today are not necessarily the solutions that fit minority communities. And that's where the problem comes in. We've got to get some solutions that actually fit the communities that we're dealing with.